You know, there was a time I thought I had breakfast all figured out. Oatmeal. Just oatmeal. Warm, soft, easy to chew. No grease, no frying, no stomach aches. Just a good, wholesome start to the day, especially for someone like me, pushing 70 and watching my numbers. But one morning, something strange happened. I'd done everything right, steel-cut oats, no butter, no milk. But I added just a little brown sugar, some raisins, and poured in that almond milk I've always used. 10 minutes later, I felt off, lightheaded, tired, not sharp like I usually am. It was subtle, but it kept happening. So I started digging, reading, talking to a dietitian, and what I found out shocked me. Sometimes it's not the oatmeal, it's what we put in it. Especially for seniors like you and me, who might be managing blood sugar, cholesterol, or digestion, certain common oatmeal mix-ins can actually undo the benefits we're hoping for. I know, sounds crazy, but it's true. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt bloated, sleepy, or weirdly hungry after eating oatmeal, even though it's supposed to be healthy? Because in today's episode, I want to walk you through the 3 most common oatmeal pairings that can actually harm your health after 60 mrn, and what you should be using instead. We'll dig into the sweetener that spikes your blood sugar faster than soda, the healthy topping that's basically a sugar bomb in disguise, and the one thing most folks pour into their oatmeal that secretly adds more problems than it solves. I'll also share some personal stories, simple tips, and a better way to turn your oatmeal into a true superfood, something that fuels your body and clears your mind, instead of slowing you down. And hey, if you're still listening, do me a favor, comment with the word oatmeal next down below, so I know you're here with me. All right, let's get into it, because what you don't know about breakfast might be what's holding you back. Let me ask you something. Ada, have you ever thought brown sugar was the healthier option? I did, for years. Back when I first started watching my cholesterol and trying to eat clean, I swapped out white sugar for brown. It felt more natural, you know, earthy, less processed. Even the bag looked healthier. And when I made my morning oatmeal, I'd add a little spoon of brown sugar or drizzle some maple syrup, just enough for a touch of sweetness. Harmless, right? Well, that's what I thought until the checkup. I remember it clear as day. I had fasted overnight, like the nurse told me. But when they checked my blood sugar that morning, it was higher than it should have been. My doctor looked at me and asked, "What did you have yesterday morning?" I told him oatmeal, no butter, no milk, just oats and a little brown sugar. He raised an eyebrow and said, "Powder for Frank. Brown sugar is still sugar and syrup. It's like pouring sugar straight into your veins." Turns out, both brown sugar and syrup, especially maple and flavored ones, have a high glycemic index, meaning they cause a risky rapid spike in blood sugar. And for folks like us, that spike can be dangerous. Not only does it leave you feeling tired an hour or two later, it stresses your pancreas, messes with your insulin response, and increases your risk of type 2 diabetes. Let me tell you about Bill. Bill's 72, Vietnam vet, always up at 6 a.m., oatmeal in hand. He loved maple syrup, just a small pour, he said, but every morning, around 10 a.m., he felt lightheaded and foggy, thought it was just getting older. Until his daughter, a nurse, had him try oatmeal with no syrup, just cinnamon and a few fresh blueberries. After 1 week, no more fogginess, no more dizzy spells, just clean, steady energy through lunchtime. He told me, it turns out it wasn't age, it was the sugar. Now, I'm not saying you can never have sweetness in your oatmeal again, but we've got to be mindful of where it comes from. Choose cinnamon, a little mashed banana, or some chopped dates if you really want to touch a sweet. But even those, in moderation. Because here's the deal, our bodies change as we age. What we could handle at 40 can hit us a lot harder at 70. Now let me ask you, Tumash, did you ever believe brown sugar was better than white? Be honest, if you've ever fallen for that healthy sugar myth, comment the number 1 below. So I know I'm not the only one who got fooled, and don't go anywhere. Next up, We're talking about something else that sneaks into our oatmeal bowls and causes just as much trouble. Those innocent little dried fruits. You won't want to miss this one. Let me ask you something. Do you ever toss a handful of raisins or dried cranberries into your oatmeal and think, this is healthy, right? I did. I really did. For the longest time, I thought I was doing something smart. I mean, fruit is fruit, right? Well, that's what I believed, until I read the label. Did you know that a small handful of raisins, just a quarter cup, can pack in as much sugar as 4 full teaspoons? And it's not even the kind of sugar that comes with fiber, water, and volume like fresh fruit. It's concentrated sugar, so are dense, sticky, and sneaky. You see, dried fruits lose water during the drying process, but when they keep all the sugar, and sometimes even have more added in for taste or preservation. So when you eat dried fruit, especially in the morning with oatmeal, you're giving your body a double dose of fast carbs. Oats already have carbohydrates, which are good in moderation, but when you combine them with something that hits your bloodstream like a sugar bomb, your insulin levels spike, kitty, and then crash, which can leave you shaky, foggy, or even anxious. Let me tell you about Nancy. Nancy's 76, sharp as a tack, always reading, always asking questions. She started her day with what she thought was a heart-healthy bowl: oatmeal, raisins, a drizzle of honey, maybe some sliced almonds. Sound familiar? But within an hour, she'd often feel a little jittery. Sometimes, her heart would flutter. One morning, she even thought she was having a panic attack. Her doctor ran tests. Heart looked fine. Blood pressure was okay. But then he looked at her food log and said, "Nancy, let's try something different. Skip the raisins, drop the honey, add fresh blueberries instead." A week later, she called me and said, "I didn't realize how edgy I'd been until I stopped. Now I feel calm in the mornings again." And that, my friend, is the power of switching from dried fruit to fresh fruit. Fresh berries like blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries have less sugar, more fiber, and they digest slowly, giving you that steady, sustained energy you want from breakfast. So here's a gentle nudge from me to you. If you love raisins, I get it, but maybe try cutting back or trading them out once in a while. Your blood sugar and your mood might just thank you. Now I'm curious, what's your favorite dried fruit? And have you ever tried replacing it with something fresh? Drop a comment below and let me know. I might try your swap in tomorrow's breakfast. Coming up next, we're diving into the most overlooked source of hidden sugar in your oatmeal bowl. What you pour in might be the real problem. Stay with me. Let me ask you something personal. How long have you been pouring milk into your oatmeal without thinking twice? For me, it's been decades. Back in the day, I'd make my oats with a good splash of milk, whole milk, sweetened condensed milk, or even those vanilla almond milks from the store. Tasted good, looked creamy, felt like comfort. But here's what I didn't realize. Not all milk is created equal. You see, a lot of the milk we pour into our oatmeal, especially plant-based milks like almond, oat, or soy, come flavored or sweetened. And unless you're checking the label carefully, you might be adding an extra 10 grams of sugar per cup without knowing it. Even some traditional cow's milk, especially the lactose-free kinds, can have added sugars or sweeteners to mask the natural taste. And don't even get me started on sweetened condensed milk. That stuff is delicious. I know, I grew up with it in coffee and desserts, but it's basically milk cooked down with sugar. Half of it is sugar by weight. When you add that to your oatmeal, you're basically turning your healthy breakfast into a dessert. And for seniors, that matters. Because that hidden sugar, it or spikes your blood glucose, or increases hawkish triglycerides, and can slowly creep up your cholesterol and blood pressure. Let me tell you about Raymond. Raymond is 81, retired electrician, lives with his dog Jasper. Every morning for years, he'd make oatmeal the way his wife taught him. Half a can of condensed milk, raisins, and a pinch of cinnamon. It tasted like home, but his doctor noticed a pattern. Raymond's watchornum Blood pressure was rising, and his blood work showed increased econom, bad cholesterol. So his doc suggested one small change: switch to unsweetened almond milk. Raymond was skeptical at first. He said, it's going to taste like cardboard. But after a few tries, he found a combo he liked: oats, unsweetened almond milk, chopped walnuts, and a few fresh strawberries. Within 2 months, his blood pressure stabilized. He felt lighter, less bloated, and, his words, not mine, I don't miss the condensed stuff at all. Now, I'm not here to guilt trip anyone. If sweetened milk reminds you of a time, a person, a place, that's valid. But just know you've got options: unsweetened almond, cashew, soy, or even diluted dairy milk can be delicious and far better for your heart and blood sugar. So here's my question to you. What kind of milk do you use in your oatmeal? And have you ever tried going the no sugar added route? If you have, comment Kongjong down below, just to let me know you're in this with me. If not, maybe this week's the time to try. And coming up next, we're not just fixing oatmeal anymore. Tonight, we're transforming it. I'll share how to build a truly nourishing breakfast bowl that supports your memory, your energy, and your peace of mind, all in under 10 minutes a day. Don't go anywhere. You know, oatmeal isn't the enemy. It gets a bad rap sometimes when folks load it up with syrup, sugar, dried fruit, sweetened milk. But at its core, oatmeal is one of the most versatile, heart-friendly foods out there. The key isn't throwing it out, it's learning how to treat it right. Because here's the truth. Oatmeal isn't the problem. It's what we add to it that makes or breaks the meal. So let's talk about building a bowl of oatmeal that's actually good for your heart, your brain, your energy, and your mood. Start simple. Forget the sugar, the syrup, the condensed milk. Instead, think about flavor and function. One of my favorite ways to flavor oatmeal is with cinnamon. It adds natural sweetness and has the bonus of helping regulate blood sugar. Then I toss in a spoon of ground flaxseed. It's loaded with omega-3 fatty acids and a fiber, and it keeps you full longer without the crash. Now for the fruit, berries are your best friend. Fresh blueberries, raspberries, or sliced strawberries, low in sugar, high in antioxidants, and gentle on your blood sugar. For protein, try adding half a boiled egg on the side or sprinkle on some walnuts or chia seeds. They not only help you feel satisfied, but they also support brain health, unstable energy throughout the morning. And when it comes to milk, choose unsweetened. Almond, oat, cashew, or even a splash of dairy milk. Just make sure there's no added sugar sneaking in. What you end up with is something real, balanced, and deeply nourishing. Something that feels like a hug for your insides. Let me tell you, after I made these swaps, I didn't just feel better physically. I felt more in control. Like I was making breakfast for me, not just out of habit or nostalgia. So if you've been wondering how to enjoy your oats without the sugar crash, try this. Cinnamon, berries, nuts, unsweetened milk, maybe a soft-boiled egg on the side. It's simple, it's powerful, and it works. Now I want to hear from you. Do you have your own oatmeal ritual? Something you found that keeps you energized and satisfied? Maybe it's a family recipe. Maybe it's your own invention. Either way, drop it in the comments. I'd love to try it, and who knows, I might feature it in a future episode. Coming up next, we'll talk about why breakfast matters so much more after 60 and how building that one daily habit could be the start of something bigger than just a good meal. Stick with me. I've tried just about every kind of breakfast you can imagine. Protein shakes, low-carb wraps, keto pancakes with almond flour and eggs, even those chia seed puddings everyone raves about online. Some were good, some were weird. But after all the experimenting, you know what I found? The best breakfast isn't the trendiest. It's the one that makes you feel like someone's looking out for you. As we age, eating becomes more than just fueling the body. It becomes an act of the care, and honestly, of honest self-respect. Because when you sit down to a meal that's warm, simple, and nourishing, you're not just feeding your stomach, you're telling yourself, I'm worth this. And I think that's something a lot of us need to hear more often. Now, oatmeal on its own isn't magic. It's not going to fix everything. But when you eat it right, when you treat it as part of a bigger picture of caring for yourself, it can become something powerful. Let me tell you about Henry. Henry is 79, retired teacher. He used to load his oatmeal with brown sugar, raisins, even a little butter on top. Tasted great, but over time, he noticed his sleep got worse. He'd wake up groggy, started gaining a little weight around the belly. His doctor mentioned rising A1C levels, so Henry made a small shift. He swapped the sugar and raisins for cinnamon and fresh blueberries. He added a hard-boiled egg on the side, just for extra protein. And instead of rushing through breakfast, he took time to sit down, breathe, and enjoy it. 3 months later, he wasn't just lighter, he was sleeping better, thinking clearer, feeling more present. He told me, "It's not about the food, it's about how I feel about myself after I eat." That stuck with me. So if you're listening right now and you've been overwhelmed by health advice, diets, supplements, let this be your permission to simplify. Sometimes, the smartest thing you can do is return to something warm, real, and honest. Because in this season of life, we don't need complicated. We need comfort with purpose. Now let me ask you this. When have you ever changed just one small habit, like your breakfast, and noticed a big shift in your health? If so, I'd love to hear your story. Drop it in the comments below. You never know who your words might help. And in just a moment, I'll wrap things up with the 3 key takeaways from today, plus a little teaser for the next episode, where we're talking about what not to eat with oatmeal if you want to protect your heart. Stick around. All right, let's take a moment to bring everything we've talked about today back into focus. First, oatmeal is only as healthy as what you put in it. Brown sugar, dried fruit, sweetened milk. They might seem harmless or even wholesome, but they can quietly undermine your health, especially if you're over 60 and managing things like blood sugar or cholesterol. Second, hidden sugar is sneaky. It doesn't always come in the form of candy or cake. Sometimes, it's tucked away in the things we think are good for us. That's why learning to read labels, simplify your ingredients, and choose real, unprocessed options makes all the difference. And third, when you pair oatmeal with the right ingredients, it can become more than just a hot bowl of comfort. It becomes a tool, a daily investment in your heart, your memory, your mood, and your energy. Add cinnamon instead of sugar. Pick fresh berries over dried. Pour unsweetened milk. Add a little protein on the side. And you've just turned a basic breakfast into something that fuels the rest of your day. Now here's what I want to leave you with. Oatmeal isn't just breakfast. It can be a quiet promise. A small act of self-care. A gentle way to say, I still matter. I still choose to care for myself. And that, my friend, is the most powerful ingredient of all. If today's episode gave you something to think about, or maybe reminded you of your own morning routine, no worry, leave me a comment and tell me your favorite way to eat oatmeal. Could be a recipe, a memory, or even something you're planning to try this week. I read every one of them. And hey, don't go far, because in the next video, we're shifting focus from the kitchen to your legs. I'll walk you through the 3 simple exercises that can help keep your legs strong, stable, and pain-free, especially if you've noticed weakness when standing up in the morning. You won't want to miss it. So stay curious, stay kind to yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.